And we're going to talk now with Frank Charles Miranda. Mr. Miranda, he's a local real estate attorney here in Tampa Bay. He owns a title company on Cypress Street. And what are you seeing out there, Frank?
Well, I was just listening to William over here, and even if the people have these credit collectors have the original note, if it's been charged off, that note it's satisfied. It's like satisfying a mortgage. You can't breathe new life into it. So I'd make the argument that even if they do have the original note, and trust me, banks make so many mistakes. So when they sell this bad debt,
right,
they lump a piece of paper together, and they probably have truckloads of documentations that they're selling off for literally pennies on the dollar.
Right.
So the amount of oversight by the banks is very, very poor. And what I've seen in some lawsuits I've handled against banks for credit reporting is someone goes through a foreclosure or someone turns over cash for keys, and it's been a long time ago. They're still reporting them as having a late mortgage payment affecting their credit today.
Wow.
When maybe that situation occurred 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Wow.
And so that's an ongoing problem, because what happens in these large institutions is the institution that handles the foreclosure handles the initial bad debt that happened years ago. They don't talk once they have a resolution.
Right.
Once they have a resolution, they do not contact their credit reporting part of the bank. And so it goes on for years and years and years, and it affects their credit for substantially long time, injures their credit. So, and what William was saying about those statutes are absolutely correct. You have a cause of action against the bank because they're misreporting your credit.
Right. Now, so when you say there's a cause of action, could they be held liable for monetary damages?
Absolutely. So the statute only provides for damages. Off the top of my head,
it's in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, isn't it?
It's up to $5,000. That's for not the debt collectors. This is for the credit reporting agencies themselves. When something is removed, you can sue for up to $5,000 per entry, per report.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the consumer that's been damaged has a cause of action against the bank, whoever's reporting them negatively.
Right.
So they have a cause of action. There's a potential to get punitive damages against the bank.
Right.
So there's a potential to get a decent payday because they've been adversely affecting your credit.
Yes.
Which means you can't go forward with your life with almost anything. You can't get into business ventures because you can't get a loan. You can't
get a job.
There's a lot of things that can affect. So that is why the laws are in place to try and protect the consumer. And what Kevin, it's been a little bit what Kevin was saying earlier. If the rates aren't going up, and your family has gotten bigger, and you need a bigger place. I know they're focusing almost a little bit on the first-time home buyer, but from experience, when you need something bigger, if the rates are staying lower, you got to jump into it now.
Right.
Because when now you start borrowing $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and the rate goes up a little bit, that substantially affects what you can buy. So if the rates are staying low, now's a great time to upgrade to where you're at.
That's right.
If you're that guy who's just moving ahead in life and he's got a bigger family, if you're going to go bigger, you got to go bigger now.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That think about it like this: a quarter of a point on a mortgage rate, that's going to be thousands of dollars that you're going to be sacrificing, or you might lose that third bedroom or that fourth bedroom, and you might be stuck at a 2-bedroom type scenario, depending on or a completely different area, part of town.
For sure.
When you look at that,
and really, when you're borrowing a lesser amount of money, $100,000, $120,000, a bump and increase of a point or two. Your interest rate might go up, but it's going to be less than $100. It might be less than $50.
Right.
But when you start borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's a substantial difference in payment.
Yeah, the payments incrementally, exponentially affected when that happens. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so,
you're looking at that. Yep.
What Kevin's saying earlier fits right in for the bigger boys too, or at least you think you're getting bigger financially and you're getting bigger family-wise and need-wise.
Right.
I think you got to move.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Frank, you guys also do real estate closings over there at your office. You got a great team around you. When it comes to title insurance, someone might ask, why do I need title insurance?
Well, first of all, it's required if you're going to have a lender.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, this is going to be, for most people, the largest investment that they have. What title insurance does is it ensures that if anyone makes a claim against the ownership of the property, that policy protects you up to the amount you paid for the property.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens more often than people think. And so, give you an example of that, somewhere down the road, someone passes away, a predecessor of who owned that piece of property. There's an heir that wasn't notified. They come up and they file a lawsuit saying, I own part of that property. I was left out of the estate. Whatever the case may be, you're protected. we've seen other situations where there may have been fraud involved in a prior transaction. And I had something go through my office the other day where, two deeds ago, there was a guy who sold a property, seemed to be a normal transaction, but comes out that the person was actually dead. Someone assumed, we're talking about stealing someone's identity. No, someone assumed someone's identity and literally stole a house of a dead man and sold it.
Wow.
And so they're trying to find that person. So those kind of situations are what you're being protected about. And title insurance policy is a one-time premium. You pay it. You have it as long as you own the house. And you never have to make another payment again. If you're getting a lender, the lender's going to require that you buy them a policy. Also protects their interests and the lien against their property. So in the example of the person, the fraudulent bad guy who assumed the identity of a dead person and sold it to an individual who's honestly just trying to buy a home.
Right.
Obviously, there's a lot of problems with that situation.
Yeah.
So that being the case, the lender's protected and the owner of the new house, the innocent owner's protected.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're insuring from the closing date backwards. Now, what's interesting is I heard, I was talking with someone the other day, and they talked about, what about going forward? Because all the tax records are online. Someone can go and see how how your signature looks on the deeds. They can so his whole thought process was putting together something that insures forward, because that happens too. Have you seen any of those come across your desk or anything like that?
We're litigating a lot of different issues currently involving some of that allegations. Okay, so to give you an example, I'm working on a case now where someone's trying to undo a deed that my client obtained, making some allegations about undue influence and the person wasn't of right mind and what have you. There's no insurance as of today that insures the owner from the time they purchased the house onward in time.
Right.
It's only backwards in time. And this is the only insurance that you're insuring something in the past.
Yes.
All other insurance,
right,
life insurance, car insurance, health insurance, insures you against an event that may happen in the future.
Yep.
So this is the only insurance that you're insuring what happened in the past. So there is no, the simple question or simple answer to your question, there is no mechanism to ensure what happens in the future.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's pretty interesting when you think about it and how records are kept online. People can go research. They can create fake deeds, fake documents, and, essentially create a cloud on your title. And then that's going to refrain you from refinancing or, selling the house.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It happened. It definitely happens.
Yeah, there's a lot more of these, again, back to the identity theft, these white collar crimes. These things are happening because people, they look for a loophole, they find a way to do it. And then, unfortunately, the system sometimes lags behind and there's really, no way to stop it.
Well, the problem, too, is I'll share a little example with you, William. So my identity was stolen.
Oh, wow.
And I found out because I had a notice sent to me by the state of Florida that I was filing unemployment benefits on behalf of my own firm.
Wow.
So when I opened up this notice and I said, I didn't realize I quit my own law firm.
Wow.
And, I took it upon myself to do some research, and I found out where the application came from. I narrowed it down to an address in South Florida. I turned it over to law enforcement, and they did nothing with it.
Wow. Yep.
They did absolutely nothing with it.
Yep.
But I found it ironic that somebody used my name to file for unemployment benefits for my own firm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Because it's law enforcement. Yeah, well, law enforcement does that a lot. They'll, if it's not anything that's right now and you're not in danger, it's that's a civil case. Take that to civil court. You can't.
Yeah, if it's not a violent crime or drug related, they have little interest.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, William. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, how'd you get it resolved?
I just got a hold of the state and I sent my letters and I said, I promise I didn't quit my own law firm.
Yeah, on your letterhead.
Yeah,
wow.
This really isn't me.
Yeah.
And that got resolved that way. But, who knows what they're doing with my information now.
Well, put that promotional block on for sure. Most people don't know about it. It's free service. Mm-hmm. And I tell people just put the promotional block on indefinitely. It's like I said, it's not a blanket for everything, but it does start the wheels to turn and say, listen, I want to be taken off that list. Okay, don't send my information out. But the credit reporting agency got to call you before they put information on your file anyway, and they don't, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
They're supposed to call you.
Really? They're supposed to contact you in some form or fashion, written or call you and say, listen, we want to verify this information is true before we put on your credit report. That's what the Fair Credit Reporting Act demands. That's why the Fair Credit Reporting Act's in place, to make sure that the credit reporting agencies follow the law. it wouldn't be so many problems out there if the credit reporting agency would just contact the consumer when a house is paid off, when there's a repossession, a tax lien, a late payment, a judgment, or whatever. Before that goes on your report, they have to verify it with you.
Yeah.
They're not checking with you. They're just slamming on the report because when they get the information from these third parties.
Yeah, it's a lot of data to go.
You know, William, I think you just hit some of the problems we have in this country in the head. We have enough laws.
Yeah.
But we don't want people enforcing them. That's the problem.
Right.
We have plenty of laws.
Yes.
We have too many laws.
That's right.
And they want to have more laws. But the problem is, I don't care how many laws you have, there's nobody watching the hen house. I mean, we're having the fox watch the hen house in all these situations.
Yeah,
and we just want, our solution is to just make more laws.
Yeah.
Why don't we just take some laws away and let's just make sure the laws we have are being abided by.
Simplify it and enforce it.
That's important when you say the fox guarding the hen house, because when we're sending the disputes in, we're sending the disputes to the ones that committed the crime in the first place. So the credit reporting agency, and we're asking them to investigate themselves.
Yeah.
That's what gives us the run around where we had to take up to a year cleaning up a person's credit because the credit reporting agency lollygagging around. I'm investigating myself, so I'll take this off, but I'm gonna leave that.
Yeah.
When in fact they should be taking everything off that we dispute in the first 30 days. They know that they violated the law.
That is a real. That's almost irony. Let me tell you something. When you said that the credit reporting people are selling our information, I didn't know that. That's beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. And then what happens is you get all this junk mail to your mailbox. Then you got the thieves that come through real quick. They can reach in your mailbox, grab your stuff out. They know who lives there, who knows what kind of personal information is disclosed in those documents. Right. Then they kind of know what you're up to, and then they can kind of make their scheme, more likely with what you might do.
Right. So everybody, put that promotional block on there. Go to optoutprescreen.com and put a promotional block on indefinitely on your credit, on your social security number and your family members, friends, etc.
That's a good tip right there. Optoutprescreen.com, consumer credit expert here. William Crowley. We got Frank Miranda in the house, and more from Kevin Fisk as well, the lending ninja, when we come back.
Lightning round.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice. Kevin Fisk, the lending ninja, Mutual of Omaha.
All right, guys, we know the Fed, they announced they're not raising the rates, so now is the time. And we've talked a lot about the people that need down payment. We always talk about our vets, but also let's not forget all of you out there, if you just need a regular conventional, you need commercial, or even jumbo, or the unique programs for self-employed. We've got a variety of programs, but now is the time because of that rate.
Absolutely. Do not hesitate. Get into the game today. It's a great time, great opportunity. William Crowley, the credit magician.
Remember, the credit reporting agencies are the biggest perpetrators of identity theft. They're sending your information out unknowingly. You've actually advocated or promoted or it gave them the authority to do it. Get off that list with the promotional block number 888-567-8688. 888-567-8688. Get off there. They give you two options for do it 5 years or indefinitely. I strongly encourage indefinitely.
Hey, that's good content right there. Good tips for our listeners out there. And we've got Frank Miranda, real estate attorney.
Well, I want to thank everyone because you guys gave me some great information today, William and Kevin, too. Great programs that I've really never heard of, and the opportunity out there is amazing. So when you close on one of those deals, make sure you call my office. You should call my office to close, and I'll tell you why. Because when you go to a regular title company and something goes bad at the table, they're not going to do anything for you. I can step in if I represent you and solve the situation and get the deal done.
Do you feel comfortable giving an example of that, Frank?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've had people try to walk away at the closing table, trying to renegotiate the contract, try to get a better price.
Yep.
And I've literally walked in and said, you can more than happy to leave, but you're going to walk into a lawsuit.
Right.
And there's always that type of seller, buyer, whatever the case may be. You never want to stop negotiating a deal. And once you put paper to pen, that's your deal. That's your word.
Right.
So we're not changing any of the terms, and we're going to close pursuant to what you agreed upon.
Yeah.
So we just hold people accountable.
Yeah. It's exactly, especially the certain types of personalities. They think they can get away with it, and so they're walking into a law firm that also closes deals, and that's you're going to come out and kind of.
What great example was a gentleman wouldn't stop trying to negotiate, and I finally was brought into the room after about an hour, and literally I told him, if you don't sign the paperwork, that's fine, but you're not going to stay here all day and badger both my personnel for trying to change documentation that you not agree to.
Right.
So you have about 30 seconds to leave, or I'm going to call law enforcement for trespassing.
Yep.
And so I literally escorted him out of the building, and 2 minutes left, he knocked on the door, came back in, and he signed. But it's not like I coerced him in anything. He was trying to do something he shouldn't have been doing, and I called him on it.
Yeah, he's playing a game of chess, and unfortunately, he had he he had someone who wanted to play back and played, fairly but strongly.
Yeah, we just hold people accountable.
Yeah, that's right. You got to do that.